Live. Hello, Art T. Bear here, and I'm going to be hanging out with you for the next hour or so. I have a page that I'm going to be working on of Chrono Mechanics, and if you don't know, I went live yesterday with the Chrono Mechanics Indiegogo campaign. So don't check it out right now, but just be aware it's there for your dining and dancing pleasure. So I believe there's a link in the description, and I will probably throw one in the chat as we begin. So as always, I start with, if you're out there and you can hear me, please chime in the chat. I get a little paranoid. I get weird. I don't know if this is actually working or not. So yeah, so hey, there's King Crow. Hey, Art. This is working. I'm getting out to the masses. This is good. This is mass communication, baby. This is the future. This is the future of the world. Mr. Flip. Remember there was a show called The Flip Wilson Show? You had your own show, Mr. Flip, back in the 60s or 70s or whenever Flip Wilson was a thing. So you got a number, 564. I need a number, 8675309, RT Bear. Give me a call anytime. So yeah, without further ado, I kind of want to get right into this because I have a lot of work. And if you guys have questions, please fire away, because this is interactive. It's the best part of this because, you know, working in the studio, hey, Kevin, how are you, man, is quite boring. I don't have anybody to talk to. It's just me. It's just me and my music and my YouTube shows. Yeah. So, hey, Jim Cox here. BR 549. I don't know what the BR is, but it's good to have you here, Jim Cox. Or Cox, I should say. I am sorry. Let me go here and show you. Oh, Mighty Geek Studios. God, you know, that's even better than the number. I should have some kind of like Marvel, like, well, actually, I have been trying to brand. I don't know if you've seen the Chrono Mechanics. I say the greatest comic of all time, and I think that's what they say about the Fantastic Four, but they're wrong. The new greatest comic of all time, Chrono Mechanics. Right there, baby. I said it. Jim is all over her, ha. We have Reed Troutman. How are you? He says hello. Wait, what is this? Let's see if this works. We'll have a good stream. Got to go get food. Oh, you know what? I just ate. My wife makes a great tuna salad, and I had a tuna salad sandwich before the stream, so I'm going strong. I have my homemade iced tea, and I'm good. I'm good to go. So I'm going to draw for your dining and dancing pleasure. So let's go, and I will show you what's on the table here. So this is on my drawing board, and I'm starting to realize how this camera works. So direct lighting on it does not work very well. It just kind of blurts out everything. So I actually have a lot of indirect lighting now in the studio. So I believe we are getting better resolution. Even though these are blue lines, I believe you can see them clearly. Blue lines are always lighter, so it's always tougher to see. But I scrutinize these babies, so they look pretty good. And I have to warn you too. I have the window open, or the windows open in the studio. It's a beautiful day. I can see the mountain range in the distance, and I have the windows open. The only reason I'm telling you this, we have a nice breeze too, is that you're gonna hear the world outside. So we are not soundproofed. The picture's good, but we are not soundproofed. So I need to enjoy the day. So if it gets too bad, you guys just let me know. I'll close the windows, but I think it should be fine. Yeah, it looks good. Ooh, I like this. Yes. Okay. So we're doing good. This is good. So I did this last night on Drawn and Quartered. They bagged on me for just doing a headshot. But you know what? I said it on the show, and I don't know if it was clear. When I do these things and when I do commissions and stuff, I like to just use just a big old brush. And actually, I use a lot of it. I use this sucker right here. I don't even know what size this thing is, but you can see I haven't washed it yet. This is still dirty from last night. But this thing, man, I just threw some black ink down, and I like it. I like to work like this. But if I work tighter, like if they're small figures or multiple figures, you start getting all like uptight and get in these small details and stuff. And I don't care about winning on that show. I just like hanging out with the guys and having a good time. So yeah, I like working big. I remember when I was breaking into the business, actually like 7 years even into working professionally at DC and Marvel, I still took life drawing classes at the local JC. And the reason I did that is because I could have a big old sheet of paper, just huge. And I would get a brush or a marker and I would just draw just huge, just big. And I actually like that. I like that a lot, especially when you're using a brush. If you're using a marker or something small, it's, it forces you to work tighter and smaller. But like a marker or a crow quill, like this, or a tool like this, so you can work really small and tight. But if I'm going to draw for fun, I'm not going to do that, because I do that 10, 12 hours a day. I want to do something completely different when I do these shows, or when I take commissions. Sometimes if I'm doing a 11 by 17 commission, it's called a cover commission. So I do it completely tight, like I would a drawing at Marvel or DC. But these type of commissions, head sketches or head drawings, or like my 3/4 or bust shots, I always do them this way because it's just fun for me. And part of the reason I do comics is because it's fun, because also I could do a lot of other things in the art field and make more money than I do in comic books. So I'm definitely in comic books not to get rich, although money is good. I'm mostly here just to have a good time and to have a lifestyle. And with YouTube now, it's pretty amazing that I can hang out with you guys. So we have the great Edwin Boyette here. It's good-natured. Yeah, it's a fun piece. Thank you, man. I had a good time. And Edwin does a great job of emceeing that show. So if you guys haven't checked out Drawn and Quartered, do so. It's a good show. And I'm not hung up on ratings or numbers, but I believe last night's stream did very, very well. So that's kind of cool. There was a lot of fresh faces. I think Aaron Lopresti and Sergio, I can never say his last name, but both those guys I worked with in the past, and they're brilliant, and they were on the show as well. And I haven't done the show in a while, so I have this. This was in October of last year's Drawn and Quartered. I think we were doing Freddy Krueger. So there's that. All right, so let's get on to this page. Let me see. Maybe I can do this before we get into this, and then I can just completely focus. So I did this with black and white, you guys, and if you have been listening to this show for a while, you've seen my books. So I basically put a mock book together as it's progressing. This is how I can keep track of things. I know you can do it on, I have my files and stuff saved away, on my computer, but this is a tangible way I can look at it at a glance, and I can see how many color pages are done, how many still need to be done, pencil pages, layouts versus, complete pencils or inks, that type of stuff. And then I even get to the point of, let me see this one, like with black and white, as it progresses, even I have a book for lettering. So I have a book that has all the complete lettering and lettered pages in it. And by the way, you guys, black and white is done. It is at the printers. So I know there's been people a little nervous about this, but it is at the printer, and it is being printed up right this very minute. And, I'll come back to black and white, but I want to show you guys the Chrono stuff right now. So this is page 1. This is page 2. This is in, I guess, I'm trying to get terms now, like breakdown phase. So this is render contenders breakdowns based on a layout that I did. And here it is. Oh, this is cool. You can kind of see some work in progress here. So this is the layout. So this is my rough layout. And then this is renders like breakdowns. So what he does is he basically puts things, all the perspective in, and make sure that the characters are all in detail and everything, but not really any rendering or more than that, which is what I want, actually, because Chrono is quite a unique style, and I wouldn't expect anybody to be able to pencil in the style. So this works really good, and you can see that he's definitely developed it beyond the doodle. I mean, it's true to the doodle. Look at that. But it's enhanced. And so what I do is I take this, and I did some Photoshop work, moved some panels around, added some backgrounds, and just kind of tweaked it in really minor ways. And so then this still needs the borders and some details. But here's the final page right here. So you kind of see how it develops from the layout to renders breakdowns to I'm calling these finishes. So for comic book terminology, renders doing breakdowns, and I'm doing finishes over his breakdowns. So you can see it's a little blue line, but you can see the panels kind of shifted a little bit, and I made the elucidator here because this is his first appearance in the book. So I know I laid it out this way and render was true to it, but I was like, this isn't spectacular enough. And also the layout isn't Chrono Mechanics enough, because Chrono Mechanics is very unorthodox in the layouts. And so I tried to make it bigger so his appearance is more grand, and he breaks the panels here. You can see the blue here. I'm going to put the border panels in digitally. It's just a pain in the butt. And I usually use to be honest, I use a rapidograph for the borders, and I don't have a rapidograph anymore. So I'm just going to put them in digitally, as that way they can all be uniformed in size. I could do them with a crow quill, but I can't regulate the size, because each one of, because it's all pressure sensitive. So the line can shift and change in size. So I'm not going to do it with a crow quill. I guess I could go out and get a marker that's about the size of the border panel, which I probably will in time. But just to get this page done and get it to Narwhal, who's doing the colors, that's what I'm going to do. And so you can kind of see how things shifted around a little bit and how they go from breakdowns to finishes. And so how the layout changes a little bit. And then this one, Render and I kept going back and forth whether the down shot or just straight on shot. So this was kind of a failed attempt at an overhead camera shot looking down. That's why Skippy is a little higher in the frame, but it really wasn't working. So I just moved Skippy down, even though Render's got this nice gesture here, and he was basing it on the layout here. But I think it looks better this way. And so I added some background in here as well. So yeah, so that's that. And I want to show you guys as well how much of this book is done, because I know there's a little bit of nervousness about backing new campaigns and things like that, and not getting your book. But Black and White is at the printers. They assure us that it will be here late November. So my wife and I, everything is done, you guys. Everything that we could possibly control is done. And this was the last. And the reason this isn't done completely, it's done now, but I mean, wasn't earlier, is because we went back and did a color cover for you guys. So for the wait, as a thank you, we went above and beyond for the ash can. This is the 16-page ash can. So I had it colored up. Actually, this camera does not do this cover justice. It's a little, the color's a little weird. But yeah, we went in and we colored up the cover. So it's brand new color. This is based on the 1994 original cover for black and white that I went in and I remastered, pretty much redrew. And you can tell by the signature. The signature is the old 94 signature, the AT, and it says 94, and then it has 19 on the other side, which is the newer version. And then we have the new logo on it, and then we have the back with the tagline, "In a world where law and order is often blurred to gray, ... justice can only be black and white." So, God, this thing, look at this. It's so freaking cool. So this is, what do they call it? Like a proof from the printer that we got yesterday. And so Pamela, my wife, is going to pick up the, God, however many we ordered, 1,000 or so of these at the printer today. So we will have these here at the studio. So all the stretch goals, the ash cans, the patches, everything is here ready to go. My wife has all the printouts for the packaging. She has all those done and printed. We have the boxes, the Gemini mailers, they're downstairs. So everything is ready to go, you guys. We're just waiting for China printing. And I don't know if you guys know this, but China shuts down for a week. So that's adding a week to our printing time as well. So we are doing everything humanly possible to get this book to you as quickly as possible. And the thing is, the book, my part on the book has been done for months. This is all the printers, and I don't want to seem like I'm throwing the printers under the bus, but if you guys are thinking of doing a crowdfund, just know this can take 2 months. It can even take longer. Sometimes these printers want you to pay them some extra blood money to put this on the fast track, and it might save you a week. But at this point, I was willing to do it just to get the books to you guys quicker. But then we would be losing a week anyway with China taking off. The whole country takes off for a week. So I just didn't do that. So maybe hindsight, I should have. But I just want to assure you that I'm good for this book and you will get it. And I was a little self-indulgent in putting this book together. I took a little bit more time. But like I always say, the creative process being what it is, and me always wanting to plus things and make things better, like this ash can, I took a little bit more time. And it went from remastering to basically redrawing. So it's pretty much a brand new book. It's nothing like the original. There's a lot of new content. So this is at the colors right now. Narwhal's working on this page. He's working on these 2 pages. He's working on these 2 pages. I don't want to show you too much. These 2 pages are done because I don't want you to spend too much time on them. These are part of the campaign, so you've seen these. So now Narwhal has these 2 pages. Now we're at page 13, you guys. So you can see there's quite a bit done. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Oh my gosh. Render Contender and I are working on these. You saw this yesterday. Actually, Narwhal debuted both of these pages live yesterday. So if you want to see these colored up, go check out our previous video from yesterday and you'll get to see these 2. And these 2 are in layout. This is the one I'm going to be working on today. This is already done as far as render is concerned as well. And so this one has a panel that we're working on. And then this page, I believe Narwhal has as well. So this is page 25. So 26 is pretty much done, and 27 is colored. And you can see, I mean, there's quite a bit. There's still stuff that needs to be done as far as from the layouts and things. But there's quite a bit of this book done. So we do have a date that seems like a long way away on the campaign. And so I don't want you guys to be scared off by that either. But I remember John Malin saying, whatever you think you're going to do as far as your deadline, add 2 months to it. So we added more than 2 months because I don't want to make a promise like with Black and White and not be able to fulfill for you guys. So I want your expectations to be more realistic. And the way I'm looking at it is if I can fulfill, which I will, I guarantee you guys, I'm going to stay up night and day because I do realize asking you to wait too long is not realistic. So you have my promise right now that this book will be done quicker. As far as what I can control, I mean, I can't control the printer, and I can't control if somebody quits the book or something like that. But as far as things that I can control, night and day, this is my promise to get this thing done quicker. So I'm really looking at getting this done early, like I guess January, February of next year. So let me see what we have in the chat. Yeah, we're doing the Gemini mailers because those things kick ass. Yeah, I'd like to see somebody try to destroy something in that. And we're also putting them in protective backing boards and bags. So we had some of the art books, the Oodle books that we fulfilled, a few months back. They were dropped in water. This was not out in the rain. These books were dropped in a puddle of water. And so they were soaked. So I'm not sure the backing boards with the bags will protect it 100% if it's submerged in water like those were, but the plastic should be able to protect them from any kind of moisture or any normal kind of wetness. So yeah, China is China. What can I say? The thing is, I'm also with the Chrono campaign. I'm talking to different printers. So I may not be using the same printer that I did for Black and White because I believe they are dragging their feet and they are setting obstacles up. I don't know if they're doing it on purpose or what, but there is some problem with them. And I'll be more clear as it progresses. I've already said if they're cool with me and they can keep their word and the book looks great, I will not say anything. But if they mess me around, because a lot of comic book professionals use them. I know that Art Adams uses them for his art book. I know that J. Scott Campbell uses them. I think Humberto Ramos used them early on. So I figured that that's a good enough endorsement. And I hung out with the guy that runs the company a couple times, and he seemed like a good guy. So I am hoping, you guys. But at this point, I never say never. So because I can't make 100% promises. So thank you, Edwin, for that. That was nice. Get on Chrono Mechanics, please do. The only reason I'm saying a lot of these things because there has been concern about these books shipping and the like, and I just want to make sure you guys know that I am good for this. This is what I want to do. I'm not going anywhere, you guys. This stuff is transparent. I'm going to be here every day drawing for you guys and showing you how this book's coming together. I did that with Black and White, and I really don't want to go back to the mainstreams. Nothing personal. I don't hate them or anything. It's just I want to stay here and create new IPs for you guys and to entertain you with things that are coming out of my creative noodle and not somebody else's. Yeah, so you know what, you guys? Some people have yelled foul that Ethan was storytelling. I don't think he is, and especially based on some of the problems that I have had. with these guys. I'll just give you an example. I put all of this stuff on a DC template, right? All the black and white pages were on a DC template. This is the industry standard. It's the industry standard, you guys. So that's 56 pages of artwork that's on a template. So I sent them to the printer. They sent it back, and they said, but it didn't come right back. You know how these things take. It takes days for any kind of, back and forth. So a couple days later, they say, that's not the proper size for a comic book. And I was like, what are you talking about? This is the DC standard. They said, no, it's not. They said, this is the standard. So they gave us a template. And then we went back and forth for days, me trying to convince them that this is the DC template. And I showed them the template. I sent these, well, I'm not going to name call. I sent these people the template, and they said, no, that's not proper. And you know what? The thing is, I'm not 100% sure about these things either. So, and I don't know who to ask. I don't, who to get these actual answers for. So I'm trying to talk to some other professionals and things, and everybody's saying different stuff. So I have no idea. So then what we did, this took a week. Actually, it took 2 weeks back and forth. It probably took 2.5 weeks from start to finish, okay? These guys said, we're not going to print it. And I already had all this, I had already priced out everything. I got quotes from everybody. I did all this stuff. So I'm already in with these guys. I already signed the contract. I already sent them their, upfront money and everything. So I'm already in with these guys when they're starting all this baloney. And so then painstakingly to make their format, we had to add about 1/8 of an inch on both sides, left and right, of each one of these pages, meaning we had to generate 1/4 of an inch of new artwork to fit their template. Okay. I've since found out from talking to Print Ninja and some other people after the fact that they were full of S. And also, I got their dummy, their proof back. And guess what? It's about 1/8 of an inch shorter. It's not that much, you guys. So it is pretty much comic book size. This will just show you how much minutia and BS they made us go through. It's slightly smaller than a normal DC Marvel book. So, it's going to be unique in size, but it's so minimal, you guys won't even tell. But I did because they're forcing me to. So it was all relatively pointless. It was all pointless. Okay, so I'm sorry, you guys. This is like therapy time. I'm going to lay on the couch, and you guys are going to be my therapist here. So then the other thing is that they sent us the proofs, and this is a while ago, you guys. And to okay and everything, and all the printing looked great, but the paper was really, really thick. I mean, crazy thick. So thick that you really couldn't even open the book and enjoy it. The pages won't lay flat and stuff like that. So let me back up for a minute. I told these guys, I don't know how to print. I don't know anything about this stuff, right? So I said, you guys are the experts. You've done this before because you told me you have. So I'm relying on you to put together a graphic novel. I didn't think this was going to be rocket science. I figured it was pretty cut and dry. Most of these things all have the same paper stock. They're all printed the same way. They're all uniform, the same size, and all this other crap. So they keep doing these things. And so they sent this book back. You know what? I'm going to show you guys this thing. All right. This also is proof that we're working with printers and stuff like that. Okay. Look at this thing. All right. This is supposed to be the dummy for the book, right? This is the size and the thickness and everything. It's not, there's nothing inside of it, but it's pretty much 56 pages and everything like that. Look at the thickness. I'm going to put it against this black so you can see it. Look at the thickness of this book. That's crazy. I mean, it should only be about that thick, right? So as soon as I get this, I'm thinking, wow, this is really heavy. And I thought, well, maybe it's the cover stock. But then as soon as I saw this fold too, look at this fold. Look at how far in it is. That means there's heavy. And I learned all this stuff the hard way, you guys. This means there's a lot of density to this book. So there's the cover stock. This paper, you can't really see it. It's almost the same thickness as the cover. Listen. Look at how thick this is. You might think that's good, but it's not, because it won't, look, it doesn't really lay flat. That's why they had to do this. So you're going to lose a lot of art, and then the further in you get, look, you're going to have to like break the spine to get it to lay flat. So this paper is way too thick, and you guys aren't really going to notice the difference, but I'm going to find this one here. So look at how thick the spine is, but I mean, this cut is here, but look at how many pages. But also, look at the paper. I mean, the paper's doable, you know? And also, you think the thicker the better, but it's not, because this actually, in ways, is a lot more durable than this heavier stock, because I started doing stuff like this and it leaves creases. It's less forgiving. So if you read this enough times, this stuff would all be busted up. It would all be folded and crinkled, and because it doesn't give like this paper. So I thought they would know how to put a graphic novel together. I didn't want to, I mean, the plan wasn't to reinvent the wheel. So, you have paper like that, and then you have paper like this. You can already see I don't know if you can see where you can see the folds and the crinkles where it's been touched. So yeah, that's what they did. Look at that crazy spine. It should only be about this. So then we have to go back. And then what they tried to do, oh my gosh, this is me on the couch. They tried to bill me for this paper. They said, we already ordered the paper, so you owe us for the paper. And I was like, no, because I told you up front I didn't know how to put a graphic novel together. And I said, I just want a normal graphic novel here. I don't want anything like this. So you should have known better. I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. You said you've done graphic novels before. So then they didn't charge me for that. So now we're on the right paper. Hopefully we're on the right paper. And then on top of everything else, since it's the thinner paper, we had to redesign the spine and this crease to accommodate the normal size paper. So yeah, there's been a lot of back and forth and a lot of BS and jumping through their hoops, which I'm not really happy with. So like I said, we've been talking to Print Ninja about doing stuff for the future for Chrono Mechanics. So I'm sorry to burden you guys with that. That was quite lengthy, and I wasn't really planning on doing that. But yeah, so just know that we are trying to get the best product for you guys with black and white, and that the printer is part of the problem. So it's not just me. I guess that's the reason I spent so much time on that, is it's not just me. Those guys are kind of not being helpful. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to say everything I really want to say at this point, because like I said, if the book comes back and it looks gorgeous, then it'll be worth it. But if it comes back and has any flaws at all, I'm not going to be happy. I'm not expecting it to come back with any flaws. They are pretty professional, and I have checked out their work before, and it's very good. I don't know about China's the Worst. I've had some books printed there before and had absolutely no problem. So I went with Asia, Korea for the Oodles book, and that book is absolutely gorgeous. And there were no problems at all. There were language, they didn't speak English very well, so there were some language problems, but it went a lot smoother than this black and white stuff is, I'll tell you that. So I don't know. I mean, I don't have problems with dealing with China personally, because a lot of these publishing companies do. Sounds shady. Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, we'll find out. It does sound like a bunch of BS. So, like I said, the main reason I just told you guys this is just to be transparent and to let you know what is happening with the book. That we are thick. Yes, Billy Wombat, that is thick. And you would think like, oh man, you get this book and you go, wow, this is substantial. This is cool. But in the big scheme, I think it would make it very hard to enjoy this book because it doesn't really lay flat like a normal comic book would. And then you realize why comic books, the paper is the thickness it is. And I believe it's because of that. Yes, so thick and zesty. All right, we're gonna have some fun now. I'm done with all that. But like I said, I just want to be very transparent with you guys, and want to let you know that we are doing everything in our power to make this book, to make Black and White as good as possible. And this is all cautionary tale stuff as well, because I want you guys to know that there's a lot of live and learn, and the more you do these things, the better at them you get, especially if you pay attention and this pen does not want to work. You pay attention and you make vows not to do them again, or at least to make the same mistakes that you did before, because life isn't perfect and there's always going to be new problems that we're going to be faced with. But so that's that. Let's put a little bloop right there on the end of that. So yeah, these are render contenders breakdowns. So these will be my finishes over render. There's certain things I like to do with folds, so I'm reinterpreting these lines slightly. And I've said it before, and it's actually a blast. I'm working, these outlines are a lot thicker than usual. So because I believe that like a more cartoony style looks better with thicker lines. You know what? I am going to add some ink to this well, because I believe that's what's giving me the trouble, is the ink is too thick. I'm not having a good flow day. Let me get my ink out. So I use Pelican here. So whenever the ink gets a little bit thick, it creates flow problems. So when you have that as an inker, just add, a couple squirts of ink, fresh ink in, and it should give you the flow back. You should get that. Oh, well, look at that. This is kind of bizarre. Okay. Well, I don't like this. First China, now my ink? What's next? And sometimes I'll bend it back a little bit because it puts the prongs back to where they are closer. Let's see now. All right, we're back. Okay, let's see if I can do this now. Oh my gosh. There's something about this area that doesn't, wow, that's weird. You guys saw that right here. It's inking, but right there it's not. I have never encountered such a thing. I'm going to try a different nib and see if it will allow me to ink on that area. Sometimes blue lines will saturate the board. There we go. And make it harder to ink. It's kind of like priming the board, and then the ink sometimes won't adhere. So this is his suit jacket. So I'm going to put a little thickness there. And so one of the things about the Chrono style is a lot of dots and dashes, which is very Mobius. So I kind of describe the style as it's Mobius meets Hanna-Barbera, and when I say Hanna-Barbera, I mean like Hanna-Barbera as far as design work, because I think some of the Hanna-Barbera characters and stuff are designed very, very well. I don't mean the animation style. And so it's kind of Hanna-Barbera meets Mobius with a little bit of my my own flair. So I believe it's fairly unique. I don't think you're going to see a style like this on any other comic books. So that's the good part about doing these creator-owned projects, is because I didn't want to do a creator-owned project and then just do it, like a Marvel or DC book. Been there, done that, and I've kind of worked in various styles for them and helped develop many different styles over the years. And yeah, I know it sounds egotistical, but it's actually true. So, this way I can kind of uniquely create a style that fits whatever the subject matter that I create is. So the plan is that I'm not going to draw everything in the style of black and white, and I'm not going to draw everything in the style of Chrono Mechanics. Like, I have a couple other projects that I'd like to do. Hopefully, you guys support Chrono and like it, and then we can move on from there and possibly do some other projects. And I'll use probably a different style for those as well. There's an idea I have. It's called Hit, and it's kind of, I don't know, Warriors meets the Birdcage. It's pretty weird, and I developed it with Rich Birdsall, who's been on this show some years ago, and we developed it for animation, and it was for Adult Swim, and a Warner Brothers executive saw the pitch, because we just kind of did it as a humbug, and we put this thing together pretty quickly. We didn't think really anything was going to happen with it, and when we were pitching some other show at Warner Brothers, that was there. So just as a parting shot, I said, you probably won't want to do this because it's pretty edgy. However, I just, I think you'll get the humor and everything. So I showed it, and she absolutely loved it. And she said, we can't do it here at Warner Brothers, at Kids WB, but I have some friends over at Adult Swim. So I forget the guy's name. The guy that runs Adult Swim kind of started at the time, corresponding back and forth. And so he actually finally wrote me. It's a handwritten letter. I have it somewhere. I'll find it. And he talks about how they have to pass on it because it's a little bit too edgy for them. And the subject matter is something that they didn't feel comfortable with. or feel like attacking. And that says a lot when, Adult Swim does quite a bit of, do a lot of weird stuff. So I don't know. I was thinking in this PC culture, because at the time, I put that together, there was PC culture already existed. But man, it was not as uptight as it is now. My goodness. Everything's got to be LGBT friendly and whatever else. So, yeah, I think I might be taking my life into my own hands if I was going to try to resurrect that. But the style of it, I'll show you guys at some point. I'll bust that stuff out and show you and see what you think. But I mean, I thought it was a lot of fun, and the style is pretty unique. And then I have, hey, you want to come and say hi?
Yeah.
Pamela, everyone. I already. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, just hi.
I already bored them with like 20 minutes of exercising demons with the printing. With I'm not going to say the printer's name yet, but all the BS that we were having.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not easy to deal with. Let's say that.
Yeah. So we are doing everything in our power. You just sent them an email, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
saying, where is this?
Yeah. Where's our book?
Yeah.
Well, they should be back from their week vacation now. Who takes that's crazy, man. Oh, somebody says, is that Nine or Nin? Nin?
No lose.
Nin no lose? I always want to say 9, like 9-inch nails or something. That's the NIN. But yeah, he says birdcage because I'm talking about Hit.
Oh, I loved birdcage.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but I
laughter in that book.
Oh, in Hit?
Yes.
Yeah. We were developing it as a comic book.
Too edgy?
For Adult Swim? Yeah. What did you pitch? Yeah, Billy the Wombat. One of these days, maybe if Pamela wanted to score some points with you guys, she could dig up the pitch and we could show it off. Do we dare? Well, you don't have to do it right now.
Let me see if I can find it anywhere.
Oh my gosh, you guys, she's actually going to do it. So you guys, this is going to get me banned from YouTube if Adult Swim passed. But I was so flattered that the guy wrote me. It's a handwritten rejection letter. What is this? You guys are awesome in the chat, by the way. When I see, because for some reason, when I click on one of you guys to highlight it, the whole chat stops moving. So I'm always kind of amazed when I come back and I see that you guys have been chiming in. Oh, she went away, but I'll put you guys. She always likes this. And Kevin, she loves you, especially after you purchased one of the Chrono Mechanics pages. She extra loves you now. Hey, King Crow. Yeah. Awesome.
Here's the one sheet.
Oh, no. Oh, you know what? I think you know that big binder that's in the T-Bear archives? I think that even has the rejection letter in it. You know that big binder for the web shows? It should just be easily seen in the T-Bear archives. So is this what they call the one sheet, Pamela?
Yes.
So this is the one sheet. So let me see what the pitch says. It says, Hit is a bizarre Tarantino-esque La Caja Fall world where the honeymooners meets Grosse Point Blank. How's that? How's that for a quick pitch? I bet your heads are swimming right now. Hit is a comedy about two gay hitmen, Frankie and Johnny. And yeah, it's based on Frankie and Johnny, the song. There's an old song called Frankie and Johnny. And who met on assignment and fell personal or passionately in love, leaving their high-paying jobs behind. Running for their lives is more like it. They must start over and thus leave, or they create their own unique brand of organized murder, cheap and affordable killing for the average Joe. Look for them in the phone book under Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. So they're basically like top assassins for two different rival cartels. And the cartels couldn't flourish because of these two hitmen. So what they thought they would do, and they both had the idea at the same time, they would pit these two guys against each other. So they would have the one hitman go after the other and basically assassinate each other. And so when they went on assignment to do that, for the first time, they saw each other through the scopes of their high-powered rifles and fell passionately in love. Yeah, I said it. Hit stories will rely primarily on a large number of peripheral and expendable characters who are killed off in a wide variety of over-the-top ways. These characters include pimps, prostitutes, rival hitmen, feds, and rodeo clowns, and even the Grim Reaper. Yes, I said Grim Reaper. Hit is a property that has the potential to translate into a variety of licensing ventures. They're not giving. I think that's it.
No, this is the Chrono novel.
Oh, that's the Chrono one?
The novel, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't see this being toys animated, or live action. Live action movie, yeah. So this is the character, this is the style that I was working in. So it's kind of a watercolor ink. It's kind of a Tim Burton style. And I liked working like this. So it's a little kind of like scary, I guess, like Addams Family style, like Charles Addams, which I also like. So yeah, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. So that probably will never see the light of day, but here's hoping. I feel dirty for even showing that.
Yeah.
I think, didn't we try to pitch this maybe a year or so ago? And they said, I think my agent or somebody like that said, maybe when you originally pitched this, but there's no way that with PC culture being what it is now, that anybody would find any humor in this. So we can't laugh at ourselves anymore. So that's pretty sad. But that's why it'll never see the light of day. Maybe I could do something with that style, maybe create another property that I could use that style, because I really liked working in that kind of Tim Burton, Charles Addams way. We had, what was that show that we had? The Nightmare Files. So that could actually be done that way. I'm talking to you, Pamela.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it could. Or the Rock and Robots.
Rock and Robots already has a style.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Yeah, so there was about a 2.5, 3 year period where we as in Pamela and I and Hack Check Studios were developing things for animation and different shows.
Well, with Hit, don't you remember we were even going to do a web show?
Oh, that's right.
We had scripts, and it was just going to be a one camera sort of thing on these two guys. That it's like the camera was just there as they lived their lives. And
it was very voyeuristic, so
yes,
it was kind of like a day in the life. And the gag was that you didn't know if these were real people or not. Kind of like early YouTube had, what was his name? Ninja. What was his name?
Oh, that guy.
The guy who talked like an Italian, and he was some kind of ninja. Oh, Ask a Ninja. It was Ask a Ninja, and so that guy went viral and got like movie deals and all kinds of stuff. And then there was some girl, and it turned out that she was an actor and that there was a production company behind it. But she would kind of sit on her bed with her webcam, and then she would just kind of talk, almost like diary type stuff about her day-to-day. And so that went viral. So I thought that would be, actually, we're spoiling the joke, so we could never do this. We're actually letting them in on the... Thanks, Pamela. So the idea would be, well, go ahead. I'm stepping all over your explanation.
No, go ahead. You're better at that.
No, well, so the idea is that, well, I don't know about better, but that it would be like voyeuristic, and it would be these two hitmen that would basically, it would be like Ask a Ninja. So it would be like Ask a Hitman. So they would actually give you hitman advice, because the idea is dirty deeds done dirt cheap. So it's hits for the average Joe. So you don't have to have a bunch of money to afford a hitman or anything like that. So it's a way of doing discounted hits. So
like if your mother-in-law was getting to you, you would write in to Ask a Hitman, and then Frankie and Johnny would start to tell you.
They would, but to back up, they would read your letter, right? Or your email.
Right. And then they would start to say how to go about getting rid of the mother-in-law or whomever, but they would never get around to telling you, because they would always end up arguing about everything. Because
the thing is that it was going to be the homosexuality aspect was never going to be it was never going to be matter of fact. It was never going to be overt, because the idea came from, shows you how old this idea is Will and Grace and a lot of like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy and all those shows where it was always like, if you were gay, you always were impeccably dressed. You were always well educated and totally successful. And my idea was like, there's got to be some gay guys out there that love football and just hanging out.
Bowling.
Yeah, and bowling and just drinking beer and eating Hungry Man dinners. You know, they were just normal guys. And so that's where the idea came from. So Frank and Johnny are just very matter of fact dudes. So if you saw these guys, you would never know that they had a love for each other that went deeper than, like on a Romeo Juliet kind of level, And so these two guys, the joke was that you never knew. So when you saw the webisodes is what they call them, or if you watched the TV show or the comic book or whatever, you never knew. But the gag was always that they kind of care deeply about each other in a way that almost seems honeymooner like. It's kind of abusive, but it's still kind of loving. And
one of these days, Alice, right to the moon.
Bam, zoom to the moon. Yeah. Okay, so are you packing up or are you leaving? Okay, so are you done? Are you done with this detour? So that's hit. So it'll never happen. What is this? Could be an ash can. I don't know. There's pages that exist. There's probably 12 pages of The Lonely Girls. Is that the name of that show? The web show? Man, that thing was genius. She was such a good actress. I think she got a movie deal out of it or some acting gigs out of it, and that production company went on to do stuff as well. Well, I don't know about dark. I enjoy that stuff. I guess you could be dark and still be nice. I don't know. People think I'm overly nice just because I'm polite, but I have done some things. I don't know about that. I'm just making stuff up. I like that idea. Wait, what is this? I like that idea. There's a lot of material to work with. Yeah, we haven't even, with Hit, we didn't even get into the disposable villains. So the idea is Frankie and Johnny break free from their cartels. However, they're hunted down. So it's kind of Romeo and Juliet, young love. No one understands it. Everybody wants to, get in the middle of it and break them up. So, wait, it moved. Oh, like Ethan and Mike. I didn't say that, you did. I can still laugh at it though, right? I do not endorse this, but it is funny. I like the idea there's a lot of material to work with. It could still work. On what planet, dude? I would love to do it. I almost feel like perverse enough that I would like to give it a shot. So, but I don't want to go bankrupt or be crucified either. Yeah, I mean, there's a militant group out there that would probably absolutely destroy me, even though there's nothing negative about it. It's not slamming anybody or saying that a lifestyle is right or wrong. It doesn't even really get into principles of killing is right or wrong. It's just kind of matter of fact. It's funny. I think this is talking about Ethan and Mike. They're like Bert and Ernie. Hey, Bert. Hey, Bert. Hey, Mike. Hey, Mike. In the 70s, I don't know. Maybe, are you saying maybe in the 70s it could have worked? Or maybe if it's a period piece hit? I don't know. You guys are actually talking me into doing something that I know is going to hurt me. What is this? The polite man is the best secret villain. Any bets on how many people Art has assassinated? I'm not saying, but I have a map to all the bodies. Oh my gosh. This might be the best advice ever. Yeah, we could use the SJW model against them, and then I could say, what are you talking about? One of the creators is gay. Maybe I could become gay for the duration of the show. And then I'll go back. I'll say, well, it's just a moment in time, Edwin will report to you. What is this? You guys are Edwin will report that to jail. You go. It's like for saying what I said. I don't know. Edwin's a good guy. There is a headline, killing is funny. RT Bear. Yeah. Oh, that's good. I like this. There's the headline, killing is funny. RT Bear 2019. And I know where all the bodies are hid. Oh, look at this. This is validation right here. If I can get a chuckle, then I've done my job. You won't go back. I don't know, man. Maybe I'll keep just I can't start work because you guys are cracking me. Just identify as gay. Cam, you are on fire today, man. You are on fire. Oh, okay. So this is a clarification. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, okay. Here's another one. So we have two agreements. Get a gay co-creator. You guys are genius. You guys are like evil geniuses, and those are the kind of geniuses I like. Normal genius, they're a little pretentious. Evil genius, I like. So yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm laughing too much. I'm getting schnatty. Let's see. I can't see if there's any wet ink over here. Yeah, so there's a lot of things I want to do. I never looked at myself as just, oh, you're an inker or you're a penciler or you're a writer. I just like to be creative. Just just creative in general. And so whether that's inking, drawing, writing, coming up with shows, you know, new comic book IPs. If there's a creative outlet that I can have fun in, that's what I'm all about. Like I said earlier on, I could make money doing advertising and do really, really well. I have friends that do that, but I would not be happy. I really like what I'm doing right now. So some of this I'm readjusting the drawing a little bit. Are you back in? She's back in.
Oh, I was just.
What trouble are you going to get me into this? Oh, you know what? A couple of people in chat said how we could actually sell Hit now is if we got a gay co-creator to work on it.
Oh, that's true.
Because you know how like that's like if you're going to do like a story about like with black characters, you have to get like black people producers and stuff like that, or you know you have to have this weird kind of artificial representation, you know, that somehow I guess is like a seal of approval from the community, so we could use that idea against them.
That's good.
It's evil genius, and I told them that's the best kind of genius is the evil is the evil type of genius.
I was reading through the Chrono Mechanics novel and I tell you, this is funny stuff.
Should we do a thread where we actually read from the novel?
Oh, we should.
Because some people have those where they like Professor Geek. Sometimes he'll break down novels, like he's breaking down Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which if you guys haven't checked that out, I think it's 2 parts. The first part was awesome. It was so good. And then I believe he reads novels as well. And I believe Edwin does too. He was reading Dune on his stream.
Now, I know this will get me in trouble, but I never liked Dune.
I read it like when I was still in high school, and I remember kind of liking it, but I remember it was a little like pulling teeth.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of freaking like nuanced detail in that book.
Yeah, it was just, to me, it was one of those that I did not like.
Yeah, he spends a little too much time developing the world, so it seems to slow the story down.
Well, I was reading this on the Chrono. It's the part where
this is the bad name.
Where they come across the dinosaur.
The Bitchosaurus.
The Bitchosaurus, and then she's crying because everybody says bad things about her. She's
in therapy, so you shouldn't mess with her.
Right. And then it's so today, and this was written quite a while ago, but she says, what's wrong with you? You can't stand the sight of a strong, independent female?
Yeah.
One look at a female who can stand upright and catch her own meat, and she's a monster. And Caravaggio says, I wish she would just shut up and eat us.
Yeah. Why aren't my nibs working? What the heck is going on here?
I wish she'd just shut up and
eat us.
She yells, I heard that.
What they do is I don't know, it's in the Chrono comic book too, is they accidentally run into this giant dinosaur. Well, I guess it's like a T-Rex, so it's pretty big. And then the dinosaur like turns around and it's like roars, but it's like ouch, right? Like ouch.
Right.
Ouch. And so then she starts going into, or I guess she says something.
They call her a monster.
And then they
get scared of her.
Yeah, they get scared of her and they call it like, it's a monster. And she's like, I'm not a monster.
I don't jump out of closets yelling booga booga. You people have given me a complex.
Yeah, she's like a SJW type of character.
T-Rex.
T-Rex. And so later, the Chrono Mechanics, they try to play nice with her, but she becomes, oh my gosh, she is an SJW. She kind of becomes militant, right? Like she doesn't let it go.
Right.
And
she chases them all around.
Yeah, because I think they try to make amends, and then
Right.
and then she's like,
no, I don't care. You hurt my feelings.
Right, and then they call her a bitchosaurus. Right. And then because of her militant, crazy ways, I think she ends up like kind of meeting her own demise.
Yeah, but it's just funny seeing it all. Excuse me. Made me laugh. I like to laugh.
I laugh, therefore I don't cry.
Therefore I am.
All right. She'll probably come back in because she's starting to get addicted to these streams. Wow, what is going on with these nibs? This is another nib. And I got this brand new one here, but it's not giving me the line I want. So I'm going to try this one again. I already tried the ink trick. Yeah, this line is a little thin, so I have to build the line, but at least it's working. So, yeah, we have a thing when we write, and whoever I'm writing with, it's the laugh test. So if you can crack one of us up, then the joke stays. And well, actually, if you can crack us up several different times. So if we laugh the first time, that's good. If we reread it, I think it's basically the thrice test. So if you can laugh and find the joke funny the third time, then it stays. Or if you get enough good, like guttural laughs, because sometimes with a joke, it could just be out of left field and strike you as funny. And then if you read it again or experience it again, it's not quite as funny. So I take that into consideration as well. So yeah, I just like to have fun. So this is the foreman here that I'm inking. He's not real happy with what's going down right now, as you can probably tell. The whole burden of time is on this man's shoulders. So if the big machine known as time goes kaflooey, and yes, that's a technical term, then it's all on this guy's head. So he's upper middle management, so he still has people he answers to. So it's very kind of just, white and blue collar humor. So there's office middle management, then there's the grunts, which is the Chrono Mechanics. So it's very, very working class, but I thought that it would be a nice juxtaposition of the mundane with the super fantastic. So, you have like, the Chrono Mechanics, they're just repairmen. So to them, it's just a pain in the ass job, but they actually end up saving, time and things like that along the way. So I hearken it to, like, if there's a storm in your community and your power's out or your phone's out or whatever, and there's some guy or some team that goes out there and puts that power line back up so you can have your power, or fixes your heating so you don't freeze that winter or whatever it is. So it's kind of a thankless job, but they end up, bringing, like comfort to your world. And I just thought it would be interesting to do that with time. So if these guys don't fix, the big machine, then all kinds of trouble can happen. And one of the main things that happens is timelines merge, so they overlap. So there's also a movie script. I think I'm going to make the movie script part of one of these tiers so you guys can read it. And the way we explain it in the movie script, because the comic book is a little bit more focused on the adventure and the bringing in of a new recruit, but movies and novels can kind of deal with bigger things. Because a novel you can expand on, because there's 100 and whatever, or 200 pages. I forget what ours is. And then a novel or a movie, since it's moving images, you can bombard the viewer quicker with the images, so you can get more in there. A comic book is very specific. You usually can get 6 to 8 panels on a page, but not a whole lot more. And they're usually 20 pages long, so they're kind of limiting. So the idea in the script is that, like, let's say they have to go fix the machine section, because the machine is so massive, it was built into the galaxy itself. So like you could have part of a cooling plant, just a part of it, that malfunctions, and so they could go to that part of it, and it might appear to them in, like, let's just say 1950, for the lack of a better time. So they go to that work site where that malfunction is, or whatever they have to fix. And then the longer it takes, like, let's just say it's 1950, the longer it takes for them to fix this, the more malfunction, because the machine isn't functioning properly. So the more side effects, I guess, of the machine. So what happens is, like if you bust a pipe and you're a plumber, it's going to flood the house. So there's actual ramifications if you don't fix the thing properly or fast enough. So then 1950 will start wrapping over into all the 1950s. So all the different timelines will start wrapping over, but it's all specifically that timeline. So like all the different God, this is so heady. I don't want it to become heady at all. But basically, I'm not even going to try to do it. It's just that specific timeline starts merging with itself, and so they start overlapping. So the longer it goes, the more overlap. So as they overlap, one timeline, parts of it will disappear, and parts of the other one will appear. So it becomes a hodgepodge of two timelines. So let's say, actually, I know how to explain it better. It's not necessarily a timeline, it's a region. So let's just say it's 1950. Okay, this is a better way to explain it. It's 1950, right? So they go, and it's 1950, like classic 1950. Like there's poodle skirts and rock and roll just started and all that stuff. So you get the car hops and all basically pop culture stuff coming out of there. But then as things go over, you might have future timelines and past timelines that come into play. But they're specifically that region of time and space. So it's like whatever that area was. So let's say you see that 1950s diner, or that might melt into whatever was there before. Like if you're going back in time. And then if it goes back further, it might then be, well, it might, if you go back further, let's just say it's a settler's cabin. You go back further, and it's a it's an Indian civilization, teepees, whatever. And you go back further, then it's, it could be the dinosaur era, Jurassic era or whatever. And then if you go forward, it would be whatever's built after that. But it's specifically that location is where you see that effect. I mean, it's happening, all over. But, since we're only in that area, we see how time affects that area as far as the past, present, and future. Wow, that's why I wanted to do Chrono as a joke and not take it seriously, because those ideas get pretty heady. So I hope that helped and didn't confuse. But it's all fun. And I've always said with Chrono, when I would pitch it and things like that, I would say, because they'd ask, like, how does time work? How does all that stuff? So to not get into a discussion that I just got into, I would say always, whatever's funny, whatever's the funniest. So if there is a rule that we make as far as time travel, if it's funny to break it later, then we'll break it. So I think that time travel is an interesting concept, but it's very limiting as well. And the only way you can do something as an ongoing, in my opinion, is to bring humor to it. Because if you try to be too serious with it, I don't think it holds up very well. It becomes paradoxical and strange. And I believe the Marvel Universe is going to get into that. So shame on them. They should have known better. And the Terminator franchise is already suffering from that. I think Planet of the Apes did it pretty well, but that's kind of not just time travel, but it's an alternate timeline as well. So I haven't seen those movies. The original Planet of the Apes, I haven't seen those in years, but from what I remember, they held up pretty well. So it can be done, but you really have to limit the rules, and you have to be very, very specific. Back to the Future did it pretty well. There are examples of it done very well. But even when I was pitching this around to the different studios, they were kind of leery on time travel. I think it's because of some of these problems. So I'm hoping that Terminator will work. And I'm hoping that the Marvel franchise with the time travel aspects will work, because if they work, then it's going to be easier to sell Chrono Mechanics. Because they'll go, oh, time travel works. Because that's how Hollywood works. If something's a success, then they'll greenlight it. If something isn't and they have to take a chance, they won't do it. And I don't know, maybe that's the nature of all these things. I'm going to go to the chat. These will become the T-Bear stream. I don't know if you guys enjoy it. Maybe I can coax her in. She is a legend. And you know what? She's been writing comics with me for 25 years, maybe longer. Because little known fact, we got to go ahead to write a Nightwing miniseries for DC Comics. So I sold them on an idea and got it greenlit, and I was going to write, pencil, and ink the book, and Pamela's going to co-write it with me. And so Wizard Comics at the time even put me and did an article about it, and it was a little bit of a to-do. And DC had a shakeup. The editor I was working with got fired, and they couldn't make the same promises that he had made to us. So I had Cable on the table at Marvel to pencil and ink that and work with Fabian, who I worked with before in the past, and I like Fabian Nicieza. And so that was a sure thing. And I went there and I did Cable. And I think it was the 5th best-selling book for that year. So I don't know, maybe it was the right decision. But we, just to back up, we have been writing and doing stuff like this for a while. Art is blowing my mind. How am I blowing your mind? With the inks? That's cool. With all the time talks, yeah, time fractures, yeah. But I just want to go back. Oh man, we're losing Cam. He was on fire too. So hey, have a great day. Have a great day, brother. Yeah, so it's always going to be fun. Like Chrono is a pretty broad concept. It's not meant to be taken too seriously. So I never want it to be like, where you go, oh, well, this isn't working with the quantum realm or physics or whatever it is. And so I really don't want it to be like that. I remember originally Chrono Mechanics was it's called Quantum Mechanics. And the best thing to ever happen to Quantum Mechanics is that there was a guy, he couldn't really, he said he had a comic book out called Quantum Mechanics. And I think he had one book out, and it was a deep, deep indie book. And so when Image, I don't know if you guys know this, but Chrono had been previously published through Image Comics. And so when he heard that, he got a little uppity about it and tried to defend his IP, which was pretty pointless because Quantum, you can't really copyright it anyways. So but he could say confusion in the marketplace. So Image Comics and my entertainment attorney advised me just to change the name. And the reason why, he said, you have grounds and you're in the right, you can use it, but they could possibly hold up the publication of the book. And so you want to put out the book, you want to get it in front of people. And if you want to do that, the best thing to do is just let it go and change the name. But, the weird thing is you get strangely principled with these, so initially I was like, no, let's fight it. Let's, bring it on. Let's destroy this guy because he's being kind of a doofus. And, because he wasn't doing anything with the name either. Like this book was already 10 years old or something like that. It wasn't even a relevant IP. And so, I went through, sometimes the best things to do is sit on these and not act instantly. So I didn't react quickly on it. And I let it go, for a couple days. And then, the creative process, like one thing, how my creative process works is I'll plant seeds, but I don't expect anything to come from it quickly as far as creativity. So I'm just patient with it. So I just throw stuff into my brain and then just see how it all comes out. And so that's what I did with this. And then a couple days later, I came up with Chrono. So Chrono is time. So, Chrono Mechanics. So time mechanics. And I think in a way it depicts the concept even better than quantum, because I think the expectations with quantum are serious. You think of it as like, Einstein, and you think of it more in the point like with relativity and science. And quite frankly, when I brought it, because we had a big debut at San Diego Comic-Con for Chrono, and a lot of people it was quantum at the time. A lot of people that came up because they were intrigued by quantum. So there's a lot of science fans out there in the comics industry. And so their expectations were a serious take on, quantum mechanics and physics and all that other stuff. And I like to have fun. I'm kind of a goofy guy, and I'm okay with that. So there's no way I could ever write anything that was that serious minded. I just would find it tedious. And I'm not that kind of person. So I think by calling it Chrono Mechanics was a way better call. So sometimes life will give you exactly what you need. So even though it seems negative or bad at the time, when you look at it with perspective, it can be a good thing, which it was. I think it's way more original, and when you hear it, you think of this IP versus Einstein or any other baggage that is associated with quantum. So that's that. You know what I haven't done? I'm such a bad salesman. I should probably show you guys the campaign if there's people out there that haven't seen it. So I'm going to let you guys take this in and then go over. I think I have it here. Let me see. Actually, I'm checking my emails. So the printer, Pamela was able to touch base with the printer today, but I'm not going to read those live. Let's screen share. See if I can do this. Boop, 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 and beep. So wait a minute. What did I do? That's weird. Yeah, it's this. So I think I'm sharing the right thing now. So I hope I didn't dox myself. I usually tell myself not to keep all these extra tabs open so I don't go there. So you guys should be seeing the Chrono Mechanics Indiegogo page. We are doing quite well. Thank you guys so much for the support. We have 41 backers. I think we're just a little over a day into this. So this is doing quite well. Thanks to all the backers. So Chrono Mechanics, they do more before the dawn of time than most people do all day. I've been kind of talking about the concept. So in the rundown here, it's a self-contained 48-page book with hopes for 60. So we're hoping that we can build this book with stretch goals and make it not only a one-of-a-kind collector's item, which is the plan to upgrade the book with foil and to do it more as a square bound versus a saddle stitch, which if you don't know, saddle stitch is stapled and then the square bound is more the glued in place square bound. It has a spine, so when you put it in your bookshelf, you can read the spine. I love books like that. So we have that. So the quick pitch is Looney Tunes meets H.G. Wells. That kind of sets up the tonality of it. Lighthearted, comedy, action, adventure story, obviously with sci-fi elements to it. And to be a Chrono Mechanics or to be a mechanic is not an easy job. So what we have is we have mechanics, and their job is to repair the big machine known as time. And when I say big machine, I mean a nuts and bolts clockwork machine that is built. It was built into the very fabric of the galaxy and the world when it was created. So it was placed in there to regulate time. And so as being an older machine, it breaks down a lot. So then a company was formed called Chrono Incorporated. And basically they're a repair company. And they hire people to go out on these jobs and go to the job site. They commute through the time stream, just like, commuting on the freeway or expressways, in traffic and all that. So they're pretty much just average Joes. They're just working class guys. And so they go to the job site and repair time. And like I said earlier, if the machine isn't fixed in time, all kinds of anomalies and weird time merges can come out of that. And there's all kinds of other things that happen as well. But I don't want to spoil that because they're in the story. So this book focuses on Team 9.2 of Sector 7, which is Oot. He is an entrepreneurial caveman. Caravaggio, who's based loosely on the real-life Caravaggio. He's a Renaissance artist inventor. We have Zen. He's an alien child deity. And Doug is the newest recruit, and he's a 70s rock legend. So he's kind of a cross between Steven Tyler of Aerosmith and Ted Nugent. So think Steven Tyler's voice with Ted Nugent's bombastic guitar playing. He's very, very definitely a product of the 70s. And so as all rock stars that are very successful usually have some kind of haircut or some kind of style that becomes in vogue. And so like the Beatles had the Beatle haircut and the Beatles suits. Well, Doug has the mullet. So he has a fiery red mullet. And so he predates the 80s mullet. So in this reality, I'm saying that he pretty much invented the mullet and started the mullet craze that took off after that. So he's also from the latter half of the 20th century. So Chrono Incorporated, as a rule, usually never recruits from the latter half of the 20th century because of the slacker. They love the early part of the 20th century, but the latter half, they're not too taken by it. So you're probably asking yourself, then why is this slacker from the latter part of the 20th century part of this amazing, team? And that's why you have to read the book. So you'll find out if he indeed makes the team, and if so, what does he bring to the team? Because he has no obvious attributes or skills that you would need to bring into this team. So that's that. So as far as the campaign is concerned, like I said, it's 40 pages, self-contained, with hopes to become 60 pages. Here's some of the story pages. We have amazing talents like Render Contender, which I've already talked about a little bit, that he's helping out with some of the breakdowns of the pages to help me get stuff done quicker. And then I'm doing finishes over that. There's pages that I've penciled and inked as well. Render's helping out on, I think, 20 of the pages. So at this point, about half of the book. If it goes 60 pages, then it's like a third of the book? And so this is a jam of all three of us. So this is my layouts, Render's breakdowns, my finishes, and then the Great Narwhal's colors over it. So I thought it would be funny to do Chrono Inc. and entertaining, as a giant like bolt out in timeless space. So this is Chrono Incorporated. And it's basically a satellite HQ out in the middle of timeless space. And the reason timeless space is because it's a neutral place to launch out the time ships. So around the perimeter of Chrono Incorporated, you can see little time ships. I wish I could blow it up a little bit. But they move down these shafts and then come out of these little exhaust ports that some of them are lit up, and then they get basically rocketed through those into their respective timeline, wherever the timeline of the repair that needs to take place. They get rocketed through there. And so I think Narwhal did a great job with this kind of cosmic energy. I just said something like a Kirby Crackle, and he came up with these like weird bean shapes that are coming out of these tubes. So I thought that was pretty darn cool. And his lighting is impeccable. So we have that. And then we have, this will help a little bit too. The Chrono Mechanics are kind of like Captain Marvel. So they start off in their core timelines as their core selves. So they kind of have alter egos. So like Billy Batson and Shazam, they don't say, Shazam and then transform magically into this Superman character, but they do put on suits, and they can transform at will. So they can transform between their selves at will. So the way I'm looking at the suit is it's a power suit. So when they put this on, it completely transforms their body and gives them a protection that they couldn't have as their core cells. Because what's expected of the job, of them in their job description, can be pretty horrendous. So these guys sometimes are out in space. They're in different like storms, all kinds of anomalies. So they need to be protected. And also it gives them extra strength because the machine is huge. So their tools are enormous. So they're not normal sized tools. So because they're bigger than an average man and they have strength, they can do the job. So basically the suit tailors each wearer to the specs of what Chrono Incorporated would need a mechanic to be. So they're all set sizes and the suits all do the same thing. So this is Caravaggio in Chrono Mechanics form. And this is Doug being pulled from his 1970s timeline into this timeline, which is a prehistoric timeline at its base. You don't really know that yet. You just see kind of this part of this destroyed ship in the background and this mechanic that has been hurt. He might be dead. We don't know. We do know, but you don't. So then here we get into the transformation aspects of it. So Caravaggio is basically, how rude of me. He's very polite. And so then he transforms into his core self, which is that Renaissance painter inventor. And so there's a painting, an old painting called Blue Boy. So I kind of modeled Caravaggio after the Blue Boy painting. So then, Doug is freaked out. He's kind of Alice in Wonderland, kind of, Dorothy of Wizard of Oz. Somebody said, what is that axe from? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Somebody in the chat will help me out. It's Kurt's favorite. You're in here, Taylor. Help me out. Pamela, help me out. What is that? What is Kurt's favorite show?
Oh, the guy who would go back in time.
Dark, something darkness. What the hell is that show called?
Oh.
Army of Darkness. Yeah, so it's like Army of Darkness. So Doug is kind of like that axe character. And so, he's trying to get away because he's freaked out. He bumps into Oot. Oot is the prehistoric businessman. So he transforms into, from Chrono form to the prehistoric guy. He's not happy with Doug, obviously. He's going to pummel him. And Zin, who's a meditation child deity, he has the Trinity gem, and the mantra is the me, myself, and I. It's kind of a self, what do you call that? Self-empowering way of looking at life, and that's what he preaches. So he's helping out Doug here from getting pummeled by Oot. And so you get to see his transformation. And so he's from like a made-up timeline, because we're dealing with not just, our timeline, but the galaxy and the different timelines there. So he's from a different galaxy's timeline. So he's a child squid character, and he's very spiritual. He's very peace, love, and understanding. So this is them basically trying to explain to Doug what's going on, that you're the new recruit. And he's like, hey man, no way. I don't do manual labor. I'm a rock star. So he's not down with all this manual labor stuff. And he's definitely not, on par with these freaks. He calls them freaks, this motley crew. So these guys are just, scaring the crap out of him. So he's definitely not on board by this last panel. He's just like, no way, dude, send me back to my timeline. So that's basically the concept. So here we've added a sketchbook to the mix. So this is a work in progress sketchbook. And the cool thing is it has Eugene, who's the chrono elucidator. And so he's basically the computer program that keeps track of all timelines and the day-to-day doings and goings on at Chrono Inc. So he's going to pretty much come in and narrate the sketchbook. So I think Pamela came up with some pretty good wording here. The Chrono Mechanics Sketchbook is a limited edition book that is signed by R.T. Bear. Follow Eugene, the Chrono Ink Elucidator, as he guides you through the history, development, art, character designs, bonus facts, and more as it relates to our mechanics and their workday misadventures. So it's not just going to be like a concept book or whatever with sketches and the like. It will also be narrated by Eugene. So he'll have some insights on why the designs were done, what was going on inside the creator's head, and all that. So I think it'll be fun. And also it opens up, I might have to go to the camera real quick. I'll remember it. I'll show you how the book opens up. It opens up not left to right like a normal book. That's why it's laid out kind of widescreen. It opens up more like a centerfold kind of thing, or a gatefold. So we have that. And so then we have variant covers. So we have a tier that has these 4 covers. And I thought it would be fun to have each one of these A-list artists do their take on an individual character. So this is Oot, and he's riding a cog through the galaxy. So I thought that Sean Cheeks Galloway got it because there's like multi Earths. So this is kind of like where there's multi realities. So even like a certain timeline could have multi realities. So you could have 1950s, but you could have or 1950, and you could have multi versions of 1950 itself. So the ideas are limitless, and that's why if we keep it fun, we can go anywhere with the stories. As soon as we start taking it seriously, it becomes very limiting as a concept. So this is Tom Bancroft, which I met through all the animation pitches, and when I was kind of working, trying to do some animation shows, I met him, and he did a wonderful Mushu drawing for my daughter when she was, you're here, what was she, about 7?
Yeah, 6 or 7.
So Pamela's here. She's hanging out. Yeah, she was about 6 or 7. And it was on her wall for a long, long time. And he was the key animator on Mulan, or one of the key animators on Mulan. And his character was Mushu, which was voiced by Eddie Murphy, the great Eddie Murphy. So, and I think his brother, Tony Bancroft, directed Mulan. So that's Disney greatness right there. And I don't know how I got these guys to volunteer their greatness, but they did. And then we have Aaron Lopresti. So Aaron Lopresti did Zin, who's our intergalactic child deity. And there's the Trinity gem there. So then this one is a little bit of work in progress, and I'm going to bring this together for you guys on my YouTube channel. And this is Carlo Barbieri, and these are his breakdowns. He since felt bad because he was just going to do breakdowns, and I was going to do the finishes over it. But he felt a little bad. He's such a sweet dude. He since this drawing, he came in and cleaned up all the pencils, because he wanted to give me something tighter to work against. It was unnecessary, but he's just a really nice guy and wanted to do that for me and this campaign. So yeah, you guys were getting 4. If you back this tier, you're getting 4 amazing covers, and also in the ultimate tier are the 4 covers as well. So here's the print package. So we have 2 oversized print/posters, which are Doug's World Tour 1978 Double Go Gonzo. And so he's known by the fans as D. So this is the tour poster for the D Tour. Get it? It's a D Tour. There's a lot of puns in this book. So and then we have the Time to Panic print, which is oversized as well. In the description on the tier, it says the size. I don't think it says it here. And then we have the 4 covers by the various artists offered as mini prints as well. So the print package is pretty darn cool. And so now we're down to the stretch goals, the freebies, the cool stuff. So at 20K, you get this fabulous Chrono Incorporated. Well, it's like the Sector 7 patch that's on their arms. So each one of the sectors has their own patch. So we have the Chrono Mechanics Sector 7 Team 9.2 cog, and we made that into a button. I think that design is really, really cool. My friend Daniel Morvac did that for us a while ago. I think it's brilliant. And so then we have the Doug Lucky Pick. And when you read the story, you'll find out how pivotal the Lucky Pick is to the story. And so this is kind of a prop. It's kind of like a movie prop from the comic book. And so 28K, we have 6 more pages that we'll add to it. Like I said, we want to take it from 48 to 60. But it's rather expensive to add these things. So it makes it more cost effective if we can get to higher tiers or higher amounts, and then we can pay for the extra pages. And then at 30K, we're going to do the perfect binding, which I talked about. We'll go from the saddle stitch to the perfect binding, which I think, all graphic novels are way cooler with the perfect binding. And then at 33K, we have the last 6 pages that will round out the 60 pages. And that's at 33K. 35, we have the enhanced cover stock for the cover. So we're going to make that even thicker and better. And the 45K is the biggie alert. It's the foil enhancement. So we're going to have like a border around the perimeter of the comic. It's going to be inset from the edge, though, so it shouldn't interrupt the book too much, but like a thin little like metallic strip around. And then it's going to have the logo will be foil embossed. And then on the bottom right-hand corner, you're going to have a cog. And that's where Pamela and I will be signing our names to. So it'll have like a little area just for the signatures. So we're also trying to make these one-of-a-kind Indiegogo collectibles. So trying to do stuff that you can't get at a normal comic book shop or in a bookstore type of environment. So the 55K is the golden time card. So I don't know if they use time cards anymore, but Chrono Incorporated still uses time cards. So this is a golden time card, which is based on like the golden ticket from the Willy Wonka story. And so if you get a golden time card, you get a free doodle of Doug. So these doodles are on 9.5 or 9 by 12 Bristol boards. So they're fairly big. And so you're going to, I just realized something. These won't fit in those 9 by 12s won't fit into the Gemini mailer. So we're going to have to mail these separately. Yeah. So so we're going to have to get new boxes for these. So yeah, this is us going a little bit above and beyond to give you guys like a cool one-of-a-kind experience. So there's going to be 1 out of every 10 backer will get the chance to get one of these golden time cards. So if that's 1 out of 10, those are great odds. And so the idea being, we're going to insert these time cards. I can't wait to get these things printed up. They're going to be so cool, man. I'm going to keep a couple just for myself as souvenirs, along with the Lucky Pick. So we put those into the book when we ship them. Excuse me. And so then you get these, once you get them shipped to your house, and then you mail that card back to us because we need proof that you got it.
They have to sign it.
Oh yeah, that's right. We'll be more specific as time goes on. Yeah, we don't say it here, but yeah, you have to sign it. You know how you have to sign you have to fill out like your name, and then you have to sign the time card. So by doing that, you validate it. and then you send it to us, and then I'll do up a doodle for you, and I'll send that along with your order. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. It's a little high, 55K, but I believe we can do this, especially based on a lot of these Comic Gate successes and the success and the support that you gave to Black and White. So we greatly appreciate that. And so, shout it out to your friends that Chrono is going, and please support this book. And these are some final words. These are basically thanking you guys and reiterating the great creative team that we put together for this book. We also have Jeff Eckelberry, who's been there from the beginning of Chrono's journey, and he's a pivotal part of this team, because if you pay attention to his lettering, every one of the characters speaks with a uniquely different font. So Oud has a different font than Caravaggio, and Caravaggio has a different font than Zen, and so on and so on. So there's a lot of care given to even the word balloons and the fonts for the characters. So this is care you're not going to get at a Marvel DC book, this kind of detail and this kind of care. You can only get these, from Hack Shack books, quite frankly. So this book is incredibly detailed and nuanced in that way. So it feels uniquely different. So let's refresh this page and see if we did anything. You wanna be here for the refreshing?
Sure, I'm here.
All right. Well, you got to look at the screen.
I'm here.
I'm here. I'm getting up. I'm here. Here I come. So we had 3440, which is a nice, round number. But let's see if you guys have come in and helped support this. 344. Whoa, yeah. So we've gone up by over 100. 100. Yeah. So I'll do it later, find out what you guys have ordered. But we have 43 backers, and 8,000 is our flexible goal. So it would be nice if we could make that in the next couple of days, because it looks great for the algorithms on Indiegogo. So you get higher up in their placements if you can fund quicker. And just keep in mind, you guys, the flexible goal is just a minimum for the printing. It's not really going to pay the talent or anything else. So that's why we have to, get to the higher goal. And that's why we put in the stretch goals to basically reward you guys for helping out. So let me stop sharing and go back to StreamYard. So we're back. I love Army of Darkness, Ash, yes, Sonic Goon and King Crow, thank you. What is this? Mikey, back Chrono Mechanics now. Yes, Mikey, let's do this. This project is Comicsgate royalty. Yeah. Are we royalty, Pamela? Do you feel royal right now?
I feel very grateful that Mikey would say such a thing.
Yeah, you guys are way too kind, so thank you. And Indiegogo and the Comicsgate community are overwhelmingly supportive, so I thank you. Yeah, Ash is the man. Somebody said, is it a new movie or is it Netflix series? Because that Netflix series that they did a while back, I think the first 3 or 4 episodes were really strong. The series kind of went off on a crazy train later after that, but I still enjoyed it. Any chance to see, is it Bruce Campbell as that character is a treat.
Oh, I loved him on, what was that show where his friend was a spy that got burned?
I think you just said the title.
Oh, Burn
Notice.
Burn Notice, yes.
Also, the first couple seasons of that show were pretty strong.
Oh, they were good.
Was that USA or was it?
I think it was USA.
Because USA actually made a bid. They were actually pretty good for a while. Are they the same ones that had Monk? And then Psych?
I think so. I think that's all. I'm not good at keeping track
and then
of that.
they had that show Suits, they had a few really strong shows. I think for the first couple seasons, most of those shows stayed really good. I think Monk and Psych continued all the way through their end.
I love Psych, and they're coming out with a new movie in a month or so.
Is it? Yeah, that would be great to see. Yes, we will be shipping Chrono internationally. I don't think there's any limitations on it,
No.
are there?
No.
So I think every one of those tiers will ship internationally.
Yep.
Oh, Kevin says put some more original artwork up. Well, since you ask, we do have a page picked out. So possibly today or maybe the next day or so. So come back and check.
And Kevin is such a good. I just.
She can't even. She's so overwhelmed.
I am. It makes me want to cry when people like you guys believe in us, and it makes my heart happy. Thank you guys, and now that I'm crying, I'm leaving.
She's very emotional, but she's
I'm a woman.
She's happy, sad. Is that what I call it when you're like this?
No,
I say
usually you just say you're being weird.
No, I don't. I don't always say that. I'm not that insensitive.
I don't always say.
Well, I'm not saying I don't say that, but I'm saying I say the other one as well. And then I kindly just
leave.
I hate you. Go in your other room and cry. Be a woman and cry. Oh, look at this. Look at this. All right, now go cry. Look what you did, Kevin. You made her cry. Are you happy now?
Thank you, Kevin.
And Nine or Nin. I always want to say Nin. Is this Nine or Nin? It's Nin. N-I-N, right?
Yeah, because 9 would have an E on it.
Yes, I do think it's the 9 Inch Nails
You
thing.
made Mrs. T speechless. That doesn't happen often.
Oh,
Ask Art. He says that I just talk and talk and talk.
Yeah, she doesn't have a problem there, you guys. Yeah. Oh, Sonic. Oh, you guys are good for our ego. And you know what? She's never going to leave if you guys keep saying this. You guys deserve all the praise and success in the world. Thank you so much, Sonic Goon.
Oh, you're so awesome.
Yes.
Wow.
So I don't even know when I started this thread, this stream. Do you, Pamela? Has it been 2 hours?
I don't know. Huh?
I got nothing done. So I'm gonna structure up this second panel for you guys, and then I'm going to call it. So I think this room is getting into shadow now. The light's changing, so hopefully the board you can still see. So did you want to add anything before you leave, Pamela?
Just once again, everyone, thank you. You make me laugh when I come in. You guys say fun things, and if you can't tell, I like to laugh. I'm so glad that you guys are there for the ride with us, because social media makes this kind of stuff happen, and it's amazing to me that there's people. Well, Sonic was saying, do you guys ship to internationally? People that we could never meet, and yet on something like this, it's like you've got friends that are just there for you for everything. It's awesome. I love you guys. So on that note, I'm leaving.
You guys, like she said, she's speechless. This doesn't happen very often. So congratulations, you guys. This is to throw her off is some doing. And that's nice. She's a good person. You're a good person. What is this? She's pointing at something.
Oh, I'm just letting you know.
Is it this one?
No, just lots of people are talking.
Oh, should I highlight them? I thought that's what. You guys are okay. I already did that. So I didn't read this. She just pointed at this. Hey, Art, glad to see you back on Drawn a Quarter. Your piece was great. Hope you'll be back. Chrono Mechanics looks awesome. Oh, this is the piece. I think I got robbed. So this was my drawn and quartered piece. Everybody's like, oh, you're doing a headshot. It's like, yeah, I'm doing a headshot. What do you want? What do you want from me? You're not going to win with that. Oh, well, yeah, I'm just here hanging out. I'm just trying to have some fun here. Just over 2 hours, Jim. Jim's been keeping track. So very cool. We feel the same. Daniel C. gives us a thumbs up. Thank you. And we have that effect on people. We make them cry. Oh, no, he doesn't say that. Mikey says, or Mikey says, I have that effect on people. Some people are so silent. I may be muted. Yes. Okay. So let me get back on this. I'm having a bad nib day. So this is not my nib of choice to be doing this. I need the one that's broken in a little bit more. This one's a fairly new nib. So this is for more fine details. But it will do in a pinch. In a pinch. So here we go. It also makes the scratchy sound. It's making the scratchy sound. The old Hack Shack, when we'd have like 6 people using a nib, you knew it was a busy day when you just hear on the boards. See how I have to build this stuff up. It's kind of a pain, but so this is the Foreman if I haven't, and you don't see, you couldn't tell by the sign here, but this is the Foreman. And so time is going kaflooey and they're trying to figure out how to deal with it. So a lot of these problems are, we get to see it from 2 sides. We get to see it from the administrative side, which is Chrono Incorporated, and then we get to see it from the ground, which is the team 9.2. So these guys in the office and at Chrono Inc. are also heroes in their own right. So we celebrate, management and people that help teams. And these guys are like the best case scenario. I know middle management can sometimes be the opposite, I guess, of good. Sometimes they can get in the way of things, but rest assured, not here at Chrono Inc. That is not the case. See if this was the other nib. That line would have been a lot thicker. So I kind of gave him a tie, but it's not a traditional looking tie. It's kind of a futuristic take on a tie. So there's the dots and dashes part of the style. There's a lot of broken lines, which makes the Chrono style fairly unique. There's a slight overlap. So, yeah, I'm going to try to wrap this up soon and then let you guys go. I do appreciate you hanging out. There have been people that have told me, they're like, these drawing streams are boring. Drawing streams are whatever. So that's why I try to break it up a little bit and spend time and talk with you guys. And it's nice that Pamela comes in it hangs out as well. So it's all good. So I hope you guys enjoy this. And I want to keep doing this because for me, it's a lot of fun. And I don't know, man. This is where when people say, "Oh, it's boring," whatever drawing streams. I'm like, if I was an aspiring artist, there was a time when I wasn't working professionally, and I had access to some of my favorite comic book artists and could watch them draw some of my, the books that I know and love. I would have lost my mind. I would have. You couldn't tear me away from, the computer. I'd be watching all the time. And so that's kind of what I base these things on. Like, what would I want to see? And I would want to see this happen. So that's what I base all this on. And even if I wasn't an aspiring artist, I think I would like to see how my favorite comics came together, because I think that would be fun as well. I'm a process guy. Like, I don't know if there's anybody in the chat that's like this, but God, what are the shows? I can't remember what channel, but every once in a while I'll come across these shows that show you how things are made. Like, this is how I watched the whole show on how copper tubing is made. So there's a factory, and I'm going to change these fingers here, so I'm not going to ink them yet. They kind of bend into his hand in a weird way, so I'm going to do those later. But I just want to show, like, ink so you guys can see things come together. And so they showed this thing, and it's I don't know if they call it extrusion, but the copper comes out and there's like a center pipe, and then I think it comes around it, and it starts off hollow, and then they pull it, but it's like liquid metal over here in a trough, and then it pours into this shape here, or whatever, not shape, this like area here, and then somehow it's able to clamp onto this thing, and then there's a big water trough right here, and so then it just pulls it fast, like that, and it creates the pipe. It creates the copper piping. And so I guess the water is so that it cools, because that the metal is molten hot. So it's in that little side piece, and then once it hits the water, it cools down, and as it cools down, it forms into a pipe. And I watched that thing for the hour it was on or whatever, and I was like, that's cool. And so I like to see things molded and just built. I like to see how machines are worked, presses, all that type of stuff. So that kind of procedural stuff I love. So I think if I could watch somebody make a comic book, I'd really be into that. So here's his little stylized knuckles. So I'm not giving you guys any rendering yet, so I'm just structuring stuff up. So I'll probably take a pencil to this stuff. Sometimes I just ink it. Instead of penciling, I'll just ink it up, like the detail, the hatching and all that. But I want to try to get as much of just the structural outline done for you guys for this stream. Some guys do everything in a real linear fashion. They'll like ink, I guess organize. They'll ink one eyebrow, one whatever, and they kind of stay in those areas. I don't. Maybe I get bored quickly. but I'm kind of focused in just like structural stuff. So I keep that in mind, but I don't just finish a section and then move on. So I believe the reason I like to work this way is because I'm in a structure kind of frame of mind. So if the tool is working well and my head's in a certain like thickness and the way the tool is working, I don't know if that makes sense, because like you got to see early on, some of those nibs just weren't functioning very well. So that's what I'm talking about, the tools. Then I stay there. I just keep working in that. Here's that little tie thing I was telling you about. There's this other shoulder. So the foreman is not really happy here. Things are going kaflooey. And they're trying to figure out how they can help Team 9.2. And I'm not going to say much more than that. What exactly is the trouble? Because then you'll know, and it might spoil part of the reading experience, which is not what I want to do. So there's that. It is getting a little dark in here. I'm going to open some of the shades up, because also I'm having, ooh, that worked. It helps me as well. So these are smaller figures, so this pin is working out perfect for this. So you notice I'm not really building up the same way I was with the bigger scale figures. Ooh, a nice breeze is coming in. Okay, I gotta wipe my nib clean off. One thing about inking is you have to keep the nib clean, because it will pick up like little fibers and things. And also what happens is the ink will dry a little too much on the pin, and it will interrupt the flow. So for any of you traditionalists out there, that's some inking tips. I like the fluidity that you can get with a nib and a brush. And there's just stuff that, like that. Let me just grab it. Like this Joker that you really can't do digitally. It's too much. Like, I think you'd have to calculate. It becomes too mechanical. And I do work in Photoshop more than I would actually like to. And the thing I don't like about it is, because if you're in a rhythm and you're in a flow, the computer doesn't allow me to work fast enough. It kind of slows me down, because the program is only going to work at the speed the program works. So like here, it's very immediate. I put the pin down and it works. I don't have to go here, click on this, come over here and do this, and then click over here and then do this thing. I find it very, it just disrupts the flow of the artwork. And one of the things that I like, especially when I'm inking, is you get into a rhythm. You can when you're drawing too, but the drawing is a little bit more mechanical, meaning you have to think a little bit more, when you're drawing, because drawing is a process. You draw, you redraw, you draw, you redraw. Inking is a performance. Inking is you put the line down and that's it. For right or wrong, indifferent, whatever I'm putting down right now is the line. I don't come back on it. I have, though. But, for the most part, this line that I'm putting down will be the line that's printed in the comic book. So I got to move this in this direction here. These little details. This is part of his arm behind the hand. So Foreman not happy. He's not happy here. So yeah, I hope you guys had a good time, because that's the end game for me, is that we can all hang out, have a good time. And I'm thinking of ways how to break some of this stuff up, maybe invite some people in that are drawing as well, and then maybe we can read the chat and hang out with you, extend an invitation. A lot of us all work with different schedules and time, so I'll have to figure out some of that stuff. But there's all kinds of ideas that I have planned for you guys. And we have the Pontificators Friday. So we have Chester Busby III, we have Zach, we have Todd Mulrooney, and then myself. And sometimes we have Todd DeWolf in as a pinch hitter. And what else? I've mentioned to some other people that might want to be part of it too. So we might have more than 3 people, but at the very least, we have people that are interested in coming on and pontificate on the program. And pontificators is basically we're just blowhards, and we're just talking about subject du jour. So it's just four individuals take on whatever. It doesn't have to be controversial. It's just a subject matter. I thought last week's was pretty cool, where we were just talking about maybe how the comics industry could, like the good parts of the comics industry, things that are going in a good direction, and possibly how those things can be implemented and not save the industry, because that's a pretty broad, dramatic term, but maybe give the industry a new direction, maybe a shot in the arm. Because I do think that these crowdfund books, like Chrono Mechanics, Black and White, and the other books that are coming out, I think Aaron Lopresti has a book that he's putting out, Garbage Man. So there's a lot of new product coming out, and I believe I'm not going to say that it's going to save the industry, but a lot of people are looking at the template, and a lot of people are making plans to move over and to do more independent-minded work, creator-owned work, versus working for the mainstream or a small press that you're not going to get any notice or really make any money. And this platform is good, and I think the reason people are seeing it is, or coming over, is because it's a viable platform too. Like indie books and crowdfund and all this stuff have existed before, but there haven't been this many big successes all at one time. So there's definitely a Comicsgate movement and an independent movement that you guys are supporting, and that's building, and that's why we're getting noticed, and that's why people are starting, not just, people like that, like me, that have been doing it for a while, that are noticing, but also just a lot of people that may have thought about putting out a book on their own, or going to a small press publication, thinking that's the only way that they were going to get noticed, or having to jump through diamond catalogs hoops to get their book even in that catalog. So they can just go in and put out their own IPs, their own books, and that's just a fantastic time, man. I've been in this industry for a long time. Image Comics was the closest thing I've seen to anything like this. And I believe as long as we don't implode and we get a lot of new faces coming in and keeping it fresh, we'll be good. We will be good. Keeping it entertaining. So it's 3 o'clock Cal time. So I'm going to be wrapping this up right now. And I'll probably have, well, I will have, I got to stop saying that probably. I will have this page done by days. And so I'm putting myself on a page a day, and we're over halfway done with the book now. And that's pencils, inks, coloring. So that's pretty good. I just want to keep stressing that point to you guys, so you know that there's progress being made, and I'm pretty sure we'll be able to exceed that deadline that we gave ourselves on the Indiegogo page. Excuse me. So I did pad that deadline out because I think John Malin is a very wise man, and I wish I would have had that wisdom going into Black and White, because I definitely would have padded that out a little bit more. It seems intimidating when you go in to buy the product or back the tier, but at least it's more honest. And like I said earlier on, my pledge is to get this done well before that. But also that extra time that I added on there, now that I know how long this printing can take, it's built in there too, because the printing it can take 2 months. Hey, Cam's back. Hello. I knew if I waited long enough, you'd come back to me. Oh man, you're speaking my language, man. Doug's sporting the mullet turtle. So hey-o. So we do have a couple fresh faces in the chat. So maybe I'll go a little bit back in the chat. I use these chill streams as background sound while I work. So Daniel C., are you an artist as well? If that's your artwork in that circle, that's extremely awesome. Yeah, let me know. And maybe we can mention your book in the stream here. Is there talk about drawn and quartered in here? Let me see. Oh, you guys are helping me out with the time, 2 hours. Hey, Art, glad to see you back on Drawn and Quartered. Your piece was great. Hope you'll be back with Chrono. Okay, I think I read that one, so I think I've caught up. So Sonic Goon says Drawn and Quartered was a bit weird without John, but it was really cool to see you there. Yeah, I do miss John a lot. I think John brings a lot to that show. And who knows? One of the things, I'm at the age where I never say never. I never, ever say never. So you never know if John's going to come back in, if somebody might create a new type of drawing competition show, or just a chill stream, like what I was talking about. Get some different creators in here, hang out, and then between 2 or 3 of us, we can hang out with you guys, answer your questions, and just have conversations. Just hang out. I think I was talking to Andrew Huerta about it. I actually think it was his idea to do like a chill stream. And so instead of like a competition or characters that were drawing, we'd be drawing our IPs. We'd be drawing our Indiegogo campaigns. So you get to see the pages come together as kind of a Comicsgate jam. And I think that could be pretty cool, because then it's a way of showing transparency as well. So you guys get to, bop back and forth. Ooh, I just heard something slam. I hope everything's okay downstairs. So you get to see the pages come together. You get to see the transparency of Comicsgate. And I think it could be a win-win. So, and my gosh, to watch Andrew draw would be a treat and a half, because each one of us would be drawing at different speeds. We'd be drawing differently. And I guarantee you guys, not a petty competitiveness, but a competitiveness would come out, because I guarantee you're going to see all of us up our game as far as quality and speed. And then we're all going to be, trying to be as entertaining as possible in the chat, because none of us are going to want to be boring. Oh, we got Comics Bob here. So, yes, I think you guys are a little bit know what the storm is. I don't want to derail the stream, but yes. Yeah, and Andrew's a great guy, and his style is so. I can be bombastic. You saw that Joker piece, so I can kind of be crazy, but he's crazy, like style-wise, in like everything he does. So that could be a lot of fun, to see a lot of different styles, just happening right next to each other. Could be a lot of fun. I'm sorry, I'm kind of reading things as I'm going along. So you know what? I'll go back to our private chats, and I'll mention this to Andrew and see if anybody else wants to come in. Maybe even Narwhal can be doing some color work on Chrono while we're talking. Could be fun. So you guys can see the pages coming together. Chung Lee, I'm almost positive would do it. Kanan, I'll throw it by him. We don't have a lot of private conversations, Kanan and I, so maybe this would be a good excuse to do that. And also, kind of related, Carl Kiesel of comics fame has reached out as far as indie comics and stuff. So maybe even we can get Carl in here. He's a brilliant inker. His work on Superman over John Byrne, God, was some of the best stuff I've ever seen. He inspired the heck out of me in the day. Everybody was kind of like, because it's a similar kind of style, I think. Everybody was Terry Austin. And I'm not taking anything away from Terry Austin, but I thought what, Carl was doing with the same type of idea was freaking brilliant. Like, he was plussing those kind of dots and dashes and some of that ink style. Yeah, hit up Dan. Yeah, I went on. I was just like, in the chat. I didn't go on his show, but he went off on a rail, and he started showing some old Tibert inks and things like that. So Dan and I have a little bit of a past at Extreme Studios, so maybe even have him come in. Although he would probably get everything done lickety split and leave us all in the dust, because that guy can work quick, man. I think Comic Book Bob is talking about who's he talking about? Is he talking about Andrew? Yeah, very kinetic. like I said, with that that Joker drawing I did on Drawn and Cord last night, I can do that too, but the comic book work, more panel to panel stuff, is a little bit less of that. Oh, what is this? John also said he's a little apprehensive about being the host since he has played the heel so long. If the host is a heel, he'll only come off as a bully. Oh, if he hosted like a drawn and quartered show. I don't think that's what Andrew was bringing up. It would be more like what I'm doing right on this stream, drawing and just hanging out with you guys in the chat. But if we had 2 to 3 different artists, then the heavy lifting isn't just onto one artist as far as hanging out and being entertaining with you guys. So we can all kind of shoulder the responsibilities, so we can entertain you guys as far as drawing and talking as well, because sometimes it's a little tough to be entertaining and draw at the same time. So yeah, Carl would be cool. So I'm going to talk to him a little later today. So very good, you guys. So I hope you had fun. Yeah, let Mike do his. Yeah. I don't want to compete against Mike at all. I think Drawn and Quartered is a brilliant idea. And I do believe a lot of people have fun with it. So yeah, I don't want to harsh Mike's mellow, even though Mike steals from me all the time. But I'm not going to do it for Mike. I'm not going to steal from Mike. You know why? Because I'm a better person. I'm just going to let that hang there. It's a joke, you guys. Mike always like, I don't know when art's like, when he's just telling a joke and when he's serious. That's part of my charm, Mike. No, I don't. Wait, where was that? I think somebody else in the chat mentioned James. I don't know him. So maybe I'll reach out. I don't know. I mean, the sky's the limit, you guys. That's another thing I like about all this, is because we're making this crap up as we go along. You know, it can be everything and anything. You know, and that's what I love about the creative process. I just want to be involved with doing creative things, even if it's just, you know, telling jokes on a chat like this. And we all must laugh. Yes. Yeah. If I can't laugh, I would just, there would be no reason to live. There's a few things that inspire me every day, and laughter is one of them. Okay, so thank you guys for hanging. I believe we're well over 2 hours. We're probably going into the 3 hour part of this. And yeah, I will finish this up later tonight. I mean, all the heavy lifting, to be honest, is already done. The smaller stuff is easy, and the background stuff is very, very easy for me. So please go out, support black and white. Oh my gosh, I'm getting tired. Chrono Mechanics. I would greatly appreciate it. There's a lot of cool tiers there. There's a lot of cool artwork. And if you want to have fun, it is a fun book. So if you like to laugh, you're going to find a lot of chuckles, chortles. And is it chuckles, chortles, and guffaws. And guffaws there. Great stream. Thank you, man. The more you guys praise me, the more I'm going to put your things up there. So I think you guys have figured out how this works. And you know what? There's no negativity. Oh gosh, no negativity in the stream as it is anyway. So it's all good. Take care. Yes, take care, Bob. And I will be doing this every day. So this is going to be my transparency for you guys. So thanks again. Have a great day. Check out Chrono Mechanics, and thanks. Bye.